Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where having learned from the last episode, I've already warped around, had the ship shake itself to pieces, and reloaded. So that's already happened here, and theoretically, we shouldn't have to do it again. So let's warp around to here. We need to take aerobrake passes as quickly as possible, right? So we just need to bring ourselves all the way around. Excellent. And hopefully, at this point, we're not going to have the shake apart reload, because that's already happened, and that seems like that only happens once per run. So let's get ourselves into position here, and it's close enough. Let's just warp down to about here. Now we can turn. Perfect. And we just want to take as many aerobrake passes as possible. I really don't want to do another full episode of aerobrake passes. I think that's a bad idea. So we're going to take this one and see where that puts us. Okay, so we are currently on 4X and going straight on down. So you can see here we're at 19,238 on our periapsis. That seems a little higher than it should be, but that number, if this is like it was going in the last episode, that number should go down fairly appreciably as we approach the periapsis. It just went up. It went to 19,240. Of course, we're going to be in the atmosphere here for like almost 10 minutes at this point, right? It's going to be a very, very lengthy atmospheric dip. And we're just hoping to bleed off enough speed to dip our apoapsis down within the atmosphere as well fairly soon. The main issue that I foresee going forward, okay, yeah, this is dropping now. That's doing that correctly. The main issue that I foresee as of right now is we're likely to be landing on the dark side. And I don't care for that. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to land where we're going to land, and there's not much we can do about it. So if we land on the dark side, it might be a little bit hard to see what's going on, but we'll just make our way on through. So that sounds good. We've already dropped our apoapsis a pretty decent amount here. And we're still 30 kilometers up right now. We've got another 2 minutes and 40 seconds right now until the periapsis. So that is looking great. We are definitely ditching quite a lot of our apoapsis. Last run was almost exactly 100,000 meters that we dropped. So that's a really, really solid amount, 100 kilometers. It's going to be a little bit less each time, but it seems to be going down by like 10-ish%. So I'm expecting like 90-kilometer drop here, and we'll dip having the atmosphere into the the apoapsis into the atmosphere, other way around. We'll end up having the apoapsis dip into the atmosphere after hopefully no more than 3 aerobrake passes. That would be the ideal scenario. And we are going through this on 4X as quickly as we can. So we're at about 22 kilometers right now, and we're definitely seeing that atmospheric density going up. Wonderful. We're down to... Wait. Did I just see our apoapsis go up for a bit there? KSP2 is so weird. Okay, that would almost certainly be a visual bug in our orbital info. But looking at our periapsis here, yeah, this is getting more close to where I expect it to be. It's currently at 18.8, and it's going to be more like 18.5 probably by the time we get there. Definitely a little bit of a slideshow with this physics warp. It shouldn't be. There's no reason for the game to be a slideshow right now. There really, really isn't. It's just KSP2 isn't very optimized. That's all it comes down to. Like, there's absolutely no reason for this to be a slideshow. This is not a complicated craft. There's not a lot of parts. There's not a lot going on here. It just is. And there's not really anything that you can do about it either. This is just, it's a giant CPU thread bottleneck that just exists in the game. Nothing we can do about it, sadly. We have dropped below 300 kilometers for our apoapsis, so that's solid. We are almost 30 seconds away from the periapsis, so we're not quite through the first half here. I am noting this heat gauge appearing. 18.2, huh? Okay. That's... I think that's about in the ballpark of where it should be, 18.2. I think 18.5 was a little bit of a conservative estimate. But as I think about it, yeah, this is probably okay. That's probably about where we expect it to be. But as you can see, the periapsis here is pretty close to the terminator. And that's not necessarily great for us. That said, our attitude control on the way down is going to be done via parachute. It is not going to be done via rotation. So that's not the biggest of deals. This frame rate is not great. This feels lower than it was in previous episodes. Maybe it's because we're lower in the atmosphere. I don't know, but it's definitely in the not great category. We have, of course, passed the periapsis at this point, and we're going back up. So we should be seeing the heating improving. No doubt about that. That should be starting to go away quite soon. And we have managed to shave off a decent amount of apoapsis. We're down to 267. But this is going to take multiple aerobrake passes, and I think I'm going to run those off camera. I'm kind of tired of having episodes that are just aerobrake passes. I would kind of like to have like one more aerobrake pass, but that be our final or close to final. We're going to have to run a couple aerobrake passes here to get to that point, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to pause the recording here, and we will be back at a certain time. And that time will be when we're much, much closer here. I'm just going to skip a couple of aerobrake passes here, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Okay, so we've done 2 extra aerobrake passes. Now, we absolutely could continue to do this, but the periapsis is getting further and further onto the dark side. So I'm going to make a small tweak with 150 meters per second here. And what we're going to do is, this is mostly just a radial retrograde burn. We're just moving around our apoapsis and periapsis, and we are going to be shaving off some altitude here. So our apoapsis is going to be about 60 kilometers, and our periapsis is going to be about 15. When we get this burn completed. Now, we're still in the atmosphere here on this, I believe this is the 3rd aerobrake pass, if I remember correctly. It's the 2nd or the 3rd one that I did off camera. So that is fine, and I want to land on the day side so that we can actually see what's going on, right? So I think that'll be important. It's 150 meters per second, and it basically guarantees that the next aerobrake will be the final one. So that'll be a good thing. No doubt about that. We do need to warp our way out of this atmosphere, and there's another roughly 4 minutes until we start this burn. We're still in Atmo right now, so I don't really want to angle up over towards the marker here, although we're definitely going to head to the maneuver marker as soon as we're out of the atmosphere. But we're still at about 30 kilometers right now, and we can see that there's been some progress in the timeline here already, as is. And that's that's that retrograde portion. But we can see just how little speed there actually is being shaved off by the atmosphere per pass here. So that's absolutely fine. I just want to make our way up here. We're at about 33 kilometers. It's probably safe to angle in that direction as of right now. We're in very, very thin atmosphere. Once we get up over here, I think we'll just consider that good. And we'll just angle right about, we'll call it 40 kilometers. I'm just not entirely certain when, relative to escaping the atmosphere, I'm not certain when this burn is. So, once we hit 40 kilometers, we'll position for it. And that'll be fine. We're still 2.5 minutes away right now, and we're going to hit 40 kilometers now. So let's position up over this way. You can definitely see that radial getting in there. Actually, I think that might be anti-radial. It's one of those, certainly. So we're going to be performing this burn in about 2 minutes. I think we'll be out of the atmosphere by the time this burn is performed, so that will be fine. By the way, our periapsis is down to like 17.2 now, so going down to 15 and having a significantly lower periapsis should not be a significant issue. This should be absolutely fine in terms of heating. So that'll be wonderful, and we're going to commence this burn in about a minute and 20 seconds. We're still in the atmosphere as of right now, but 2 kilometers to go, and that's it. 1 kilometer to go. We're out of the atmosphere as of now. In theory. Yeah, there we go. So we've got 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, mark. This will be about an 18-second burn, and for the first half, or like the first 2/3 or so, this periapsis is going to be increasing. On the second half of the burn, it's going to go down, and we're just targeting 15 kilometers here. Now it's starting to go down. And 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, that'll do. We'll call this good. So our apoapsis is now significantly lower, and we want to warp around to around here or so. Actually, maybe like here. Yeah, we're going down. Stop this warp. Stop the warp. I want to be over at retrograde. Cool. So this is almost certainly going to be our final approach. Almost certainly. There's no way that our apoapsis remains above the atmosphere here, right? Yeah, 100%. It's not going to happen. So we're going to come down on the day side, and we're just angling to lower our surface velocity to somewhere that's safe to fire our drogue chutes. Now, this is Duna. Atmosphere is very thin, and our rocket is very heavy. So how much are the chutes actually going to do? That is a question that must be asked. For now, we're going to go through at 4x warp, and we're watching our periapsis here. You can see time to periapsis is going down right now. But that's not really what matters. What really matters is that this number drops below 50, and that's definitely going to happen. That's 8 kilometers. 100% that's going to happen. So that sounds good. The real question now is, how much is our landing burn going to take? That's the definite question. So for the moment, let's let this drop. I want to get ourselves into at least this stage before I activate the drogue chutes, like into this part of the atmosphere. So we'll try the drogue chutes around there, and they should deploy. I don't expect them to create that much drag, but let's just warp on through here. Final approach, and we're coming into the light side. Excellent. We're also coming in significantly slower than we were before. The question is, will we slow down enough to safely deploy the drogues? Well, there doesn't seem to be a, safety deploy. We're currently shoot safety safe. It doesn't seem to actually update that correctly. So we'll see what happens with that. Note that we're coming in with the sun over here now, so our electric charge is not going to be the best, but again, we're going to be using chutes for attitude control. So that seems okay. We're 11 minutes to the periapsis right now. There's absolutely no way we even reach the periapsis. It's going to start pushing away from us until we hit the ground. So that looks good. And the apoapsis is slowly coming down. So we're just going to continue going down here and waiting for chute deployment. So the drogues are going to be safe to deploy on Kerbal at around 600, 700 meters per second, if that system was fully implemented, which I don't think it is in KSP2. Chute deployment seems to be all over the place in this game. But that's understood. So we're dipping down into the upper atmosphere. We're no longer in, I guess I would call this the exosphere or something. I don't know. This is upper atmosphere, mid-atmosphere, and lower atmosphere. And we're getting down into the upper atmosphere now. We can see at this point, our apoapsis is not going down super quickly, but that is, of course, because we're still 35 kilometers up. We're going to be dipping down to 15, and that's going to be a significant difference. In fact, we're going to dip lower than 15. We're losing quite a bit of altitude in the periapsis at this point, but time to periapsis is still going down. So that looks decent. And the real question now is, when is our surface velocity going to start going down instead of up, right? I mean, 33 kilometers up, the air is still incredibly thin. Incredibly, incredibly thin. So that's fine. As long as we weigh 100 tons, or rather 300 tons, when we touch down and we don't explode, we'll be fine and complete our mission. That's all we need to do. So that is, of course, our current goal. 900 meters per second is our current surface velocity. However, we are absolutely losing momentum. And we're losing a fair amount of it. This number is not going down very quickly, but that is because we're very close to being encapsulated, right? We're losing basically the same amount as we were previously, except that we're going to be in this... We're going to be in the atmosphere forever. There's no way around it. That's absolutely happening. Very soon, we're going to start to see the time to periapsis number turn around and start going up. We're not there yet, but that is certainly going to happen. The real question is, are we going to start to see overheats? We're still slowly speeding up here. Actually, this isn't that slow. So 910 meters per second is not as slow as I would like to be at this moment. I would like to be... Well, we're still 26 kilometers up, but I would like to be closer to 600-700 meters per second. But we've got time. We have lots and lots of time. Yeah, for sure. So this is looking absolutely okay for right now. The real question is, how slowly are we going to be going once the chutes have fully deployed? That's the question. And the answer to that is, I have no idea. So this will be interesting. We do have positive thrust to weight here, so powered landing is certainly possible and is likely to happen. The question is, how good is our thrust to weight with this level of fuel? That is quite a question indeed. So time to periapsis is still coming down. And we can see that we are currently angling at about a 13-kilometer periapsis. That said, we won't be seeing any heating effects for quite some time at this point. 22 kilometers up. I'm noting an oscillation being picked up here. That might not be the worst thing in the world, though. Okay. So we're just about through the upper atmosphere, and we're going to start dipping into the mid-atmosphere fairly soon. Note how time to periapsis is going up now. That indicates that we are never, ever leaving the atmosphere, and we are indeed on final approach. I'm going to take us out of warp for the time being. Although I guess I shouldn't have, now that I think about it. We need to continue to warp here for a moment. And I want to get down to a... ground altitude. Oh, we're out of electric charge due to that oscillation. Sure, this is fine. We actually don't need electric charge here. Yeah, that oscillation killed all of our electric charge, which is sad. But let's continue to head down, and we're looking for heating gauges. We are still accelerating at this point, although the acceleration is significantly slow. We're dipping into the mid-atmosphere as of about now-ish. Sea level altitude is below 18 kilometers. Yeah, I think that's probably the threshold here. Surface velocity is holding. Okay, you can see here the apoapsis is in atmosphere. We are not coming back out. Not without additional power. Surface speed is going down. Now, I want to try the chute. So let's see here. Does it say that it's safe? Unsafe for the Mark 12R. But which chute is that? Is that the drogue or the regular chute? Unsafe? It is claiming to be unsafe. Okay. In that case, we won't try the chute just yet. We'll need to slow down further. So we'll keep an eye on that. We are indeed slowing down. So that looks good. We do have a lot of velocity still. So 925 meters per second, and we're continuing to drop. We can see that we're on a collision course as of right now. We may have to do a re-entry burn here. We'll see. We're not slowing down all that much. I think we should do a re-entry burn. So let's do a bit of a burn here. That'll also generate us up some electric charge, which would be, you know, nice. And I'm just going to burn this down to somewhere around like 850 or so. Actually, we see those heating gauges. Okay. Are we safe on the chutes? Still unsafe here. Okay. Let's do some more burn. And just slow this on down to about 800 meters per second. Okay. Still unsafe on the chute safety. Cool. And the heating gauges went away. So that seems fine. We'll continue to burn for a little bit. We do have a fair amount of fuel cushion still. This is giving us a sense of how our burn is going to go for landing as well. I'm going to take us down to about 700 meters per second. So 710. 700. Still considered unsafe on this chute safety. Okay. We're not slowing down very much here. So that is noted. We'll continue to burn. Not a huge fan of how much fuel we're burning off here. I was intending for this to be much more aerobraking. Taking this down to 600 meters per second. Okay. Are we safe on the chutes yet? No. We are still considered unsafe on the chute. And we're increasing our velocity. Okay. That's a pretty bad sign. How slow do we have to go to have these chutes be safe? That's kind of nutty. I do have an idea on what we can do about this, if this isn't enough mass. But we're working on it. Now it's considered safe. Okay, drogue's out. Are we good on these chutes? Yes. Main's out. Okay. Do we need to continue to burn here? Possibly. We're 6 kilometers up. I think we should. Let's continue to burn until our chutes deploy. I'm keeping an eye on this, and it's, you know, not great. Okay, chutes have deployed. We're slowing down via chute. I want to know what our terminal velocity with chute is. I also want to extend our landing gear. Okay, this terminal velocity seems reasonable. I'm going to turn our SAS off for right now. We're just going to let ourselves be oriented by chute. So we're just going to regen that electric charge for the time being. Okay, about 47.5 meters per second. Noted. That's going to go down a little further as we continue to orient. And as we continue to get into slightly thicker atmosphere before we hit the ground. But this is pretty close to what our terminal velocity is going to be. So that did save us quite a lot of fuel from just doing a powered landing. 46.2, 46.1. Yeah, we're continuing to slow here. We're about 3 kilometers up right now. 45.4, 45.3. Continuing to slow down, but we're pretty much at terminal velocity right now. So I want to put us back on SAS very shortly here. I'm going to start a burn at about 1 kilometer, I feel like. So we're at 44 meters per second right now. We're 2 kilometers up. Maybe I'll start it a little earlier. So put it on retrograde, and let's commence that burn now and see where that puts us. Okay, noted. So we are accelerating currently. Noting our electric charge. And we're 400 meters up. We need to be braking. I was on sea level altitude. Okay. Let's be slowly braking right now. We're 200 meters up as it is. Let's brake a little faster. There we go. About 10 meters per second. We're about 90 meters up right now. 60 meters. We're kicking up regolith. And we have landed. We bounced a little bit, but we landed. Are we heavy enough? Yes, we are. Beautiful. Okay, well, that was a whole thing. No doubt about it. I'm going to turn the SAS off. Our landing legs will keep us where we need to be, and we want to recharge our electric charge. So let's hop over to mission control. That was a lot, but we actually needed all of that aerobraking because it was pretty dicey. We know that our weight on our actual craft is like 96 tons unfueled, right? No, I don't want the training center. I want the tracking station. We know that it's like 96 tons unfueled. So we know that we needed a certain amount of fuel to qualify for that. And if we look at our landed vehicle right here, we can see that we have 212 tons in fuel here. So, that was close. Last time I checked, 212 plus 96 is 318. So we had 18 tons of fuel to spare. That is not a lot of fuel, and I think we needed every single aerobrake pass we took. Beautiful. We're, of course, going to have to repack these chutes, and we're going to do so. So, repack this one. There we go. We're going to want to repack every single one of these parachutes because we're going to reuse those as we go to Kerbal, as we go home. So that's perfect. Is this one repacked? No, it is not. It's this one. There we go. Well, we do have a little bit of things to do here. We can do some science and such, but that is something that we can do next episode, and then we can return. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.